I'm really in a good setting and good mood, and I hope you as well, because it's start of the year, and I can imagine there is a lot of hiccups and a lot of slack coming maybe from the last year. And you're trying to figure out what awaits me in 2024. And I know for many of you, probably high performers and achievers and those light bearers and energy rabbits and warriors, you want to make a difference. You want to really embrace what awaits you, and you want to make smart decision. You want to be really thinking where you're moving, where you're going, and how you're gonna do it. And this means that you have to look at things maybe a little bit differently, a little bit more with a perspective, a little bit more with a distance, and also give yourself the time and possibility to really think where you're gonna move, what you're gonna drop, what doesn't serve you anymore, and what serves you really well. And for this is super exciting area, because there is gonna be surprises. In my life, and you've probably seen it so often, what's going to surprise you might be anything. And sometimes we have this laid out, crystal clear plan, and we have those attempts. We go in the field and we test our theory, and we know that no white towel is gonna be thrown in the arena. We will be dusted, blooded, and with great effort, and really go for things to move higher. But in the end, or maybe even at the beginning, if you think about the January slump, and I've experienced it myself as a high performer, as an achiever. We all have our ups and downs, and it's that our job is to summon the best of who we are and our best abilities, and our excellence, and going for things each and every day. I call it radiate energy, really. And it's about bringing your health, your fitness, and your mind together, so that you really can be clear every day on mitigating diseases. So really putting them and kind of protecting yourself in a healthy way, and especially among the stress and pressure today, but yet keep pushing forward. And especially the January slump, it's a combination of physical and psychological factors, says Stuart Duff. He's the head of development and workspace psychology consultancy. And it's really interesting, because January has this post-party feeling, and having looked forward to and enjoyed all of the festivities of December, we know that workplace psychology can be helping us to kind of get over it. But I guess also the most significant underlying psychological factor is perhaps that January is the first month of the year. It's also very slow month. It's cold. Down here in Europe, we have snow, it's cold, it's freezing. And when we hit the middle of January, we might genuinely feel rubbish, and about our work, and that we need to do it again, and that we need to get going. So what can you do about it? And I think this is the important part. What can you do about a slump? It might mean that you need to get thinking about your goals, you need to think about your desires, and sometimes it means also talking about experts and what other high performance are doing, so that you can get yourself back. And what helps me personally is give myself time. Let's say a week in January, I don't cram my agenda, I don't cram my calendar, I don't try to push myself to really decide that I have to go in particular direction. And as I'm slowly moving throughout January, I figure out, hey, this actually works for me, this doesn't work for me. Last year this was really great, this year I want to double down on that, I want to embrace that, I want to do that a little bit more of, and just being yourself and listen to yourself. But as we go through this little episode, I want you to ask yourself some questions, few questions. And I'm asking these questions myself as well. And the first one is, if I were to feel more content and fulfilled in my everyday life this year, these things would have to change. We live in these turbulent times, as I always say, and some things need to change. Some things need to be different, and we need to navigate this constant push and pull. And I'm very excited about a year ahead because I know that there is a lot of good awaiting, and at the same time, I know it's a bit scary because I feel the insurmountable pressure, the frontal wind, like everybody else. I mean, you know that on one side you're trying, but on the other you always have other things distracting you, pulling you. You get sick, you get sidetracked, and this is why also the notion before radiating energy, taking care about your fitness, your mental health, and your health in general is a big thing. Because if you have a dreamlike year, there is a big path to get there. So sometimes we need to shake things up. For many of us, it means going back to what we already have done before, not what we want really, and what everybody else wants, which is car, houses, startup, getting a startup on the ground. It's all fine and good, and it's all these desires that are really actually necessary to grow and to improve our life. But it's about remembering our goals, remembering our dreams, remembering our desires, so our purpose, you know, thinking about your family, friends, the fact that you can put food on the table, and really going back to the basic of Maslow pyramid, which is safety. I know in today's time, wherever you're listening to this, you might be really in a sticky situation in a country which is oppressed, which is terrorized, or you might be a refugee and you might listen to this and you're like, hey, I'm not safe. So take care of that. Try to find a way to be safe as soon as possible. And if we have that, and many of us here in the West have that, you need to push beyond the beauty of this safety and really enjoy that, embody that, and really feel alive and content. Because I can tell you, many people I meet in my life, they don't think about this. They take it for granted. Maybe it's because I was born in Eastern Europe and I know that struggle is real and success is not guaranteed. So that's why I know that we need to really remind ourselves each and every day about the beauty of being alive. And there is also science that shows that feeling content is fascinating exploration of our emotional well-being, and what are actually really emotional experience and feelings. It's different definition for different people, but there are three components of these emotional experiences. One is the subjective experience, and we're gonna get a little bit into the science here, so bear with me. So it's our conscious awareness of emotions, akin recognizing hunger or pain. Then we have the psychological responses, which is that our bodies react to physical and emotional kind of experiences, and then we have the behavioral, the third one, and expressive, which is the we express emotion through actions. And one thing that is very important is, what feelings arise from emotional experience. Well-being beyond happiness says that, well-being encompasses more than just happiness and life satisfaction. So we have these feelings that arrive. It's the feeling good. So it's the positive emotions like happiness and contentment. It's the functioning well, developing our potential, having control over our lives, sense of purpose, and positive relationships. And then also the big question is obviously why emotions matter. It's, emotions significantly impact our mental and physical health, and also understanding and managing our emotions to more fulfilling life. So, whether you like it or not, in many areas, cultures, emotions have quite a big power over us. We can choose what we do with them as we strive, move ahead. We need to pause and be grateful. So, I just want to say here to sum this up, this question. So, what does it mean for me? For me, that means to remind myself really to go back to the basics, to the, let's say, 15 years or 20 years ago when I left, Eastern Europe and I moved to the West, and I struggled, and I really had to remind myself that, I have this, I have my brain and I can figure things out. I have my friends, and even if they were far, or I have my mentors, and there are challenges and there are opportunities, and I can really pave my life and create my life. So, if you had, or if you can be fulfilled today, or if I had a chance to be fulfilled today, I would probably start putting reminders on my phone or start paying attention to them, because I have them there already a while. But really with a new zest, new energy, and pausing a couple times a day, just like right now, and thinking, okay, I'm alive, I'm happy, I can, see the snow, I can enjoy the warmth of my place. And even, amidst of job uncertainty, situation with war, your family maybe being sick, we can feel alive. So I just want to say, for me, it really means to take just one beat extra longer, to share a good conversation with a friend, to hug my partner, Kate, just a beat longer, hug my loved ones a few seconds longer, express gratitude more often, really, cheer people on, and means really everything, doing everything with full effort and leaving kind of everything on the floor as you would do, right? If you are in a fight or flight situation, it's a different thing. But if you're in a moment and if you really want to make a difference, you are there, you're doing it, and you go for it. And this is the important part in today's discussion. The second question I want you guys to think about, if I were, or am by myself, if I were going to become even more proud of who I am this year and I were going to live more congruently to that vision of myself, I would have started dot 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 dot. So this is very fascinating question because it puts my mind to play, and I hope it puts your mind to play, because there are many ways we can learn through others, and I want to build. There are two areas I want to talk about here. I want to build first, or I want to push more on my personal desires and goals. That means being more focused, having more targeted energy on a few areas. So in the last year, I've been experimenting, and last year particularly has been really a year to give myself back, to get back to the center, to do more what I love, not stress, or stress less, and really doing what I enjoy, creating peace in mind, and doubling down a little bit more on a few things. And that means also sometimes being flexible and being able to switch gears, and flexibility is a key here. So also one thing that I've been very good at last year, and I want to continue that, is the task repetition, goal setting. I want to remind myself more often about why I'm doing things, why I'm building certain groups, why I'm healthy, or why I try to keep up my fitness and health level each year. Just like last year I did. You probably read it in the last post or listened to it in the last episode. With my partner Kate, we did our freediving certification down in Costa Rica, and it was amazing experience. And you need, for a lot of things in life, you need patience, but you need to also experiment and be able to recognize when to kick the activity to a new level and deliver more value, charge more money. So this year is pretty much about these things for me, to pinpoint those areas and double down on them a little bit more. I also want to remind myself to have, as I said, to kind of sum it up, to have more or less areas to focus on with a higher level of dedication, and try to go way more from spreading myself too thin, to bring more fun, or keep bringing more fun as I have done in the last years. Focus on the skill building in the few areas and overlaps where I see, okay, I could maybe combine this, I could bucket this and actually do those things together, because it will go towards the same results. So one thing is obvious, and one question is, what is your focus area this year? The second part I want to talk about, guys, is the level of influence we exercise, which can help us achieve our goals. We don't achieve goals ourselves. This is what I learned in my, more than a decade, or probably almost 2 decades now, sales and marketing and other roles, leadership roles, where you can do everything by yourself. There are a lot of smart people, and you should use that. You should use the opportunity to learn from others, to be a great human being, and to really double down on that. And this is a great privilege to be able to do that in that way. So for me, it means also kind of looking at how the year has developed and flown, and there was a lot of impact. There was some mentoring I've been having going on, some groups I've been leading, and I want to double down on those, because I feel that really there was a great resonance with the way I think, the way I position myself, and it transformed a couple people along the way. And I want to focus on that. I want to speak more on this, share more of my content, and double down and help people achieve their healthy energy, positivity, and resilience. So that means really for me, and I hope also for you in your area. Perhaps it's tech, perhaps it's fitness, perhaps it's mindset, perhaps it's just writing or being an artist, painting more. It's coming back to the chief aim. So what is your chief objective? And for me, that means, as I said, what I believe I am meant to do with my life. And I know this is very big for many people and very difficult. And again, I just want to pause here and, between air quotes, give yourself some time and cut yourself some slack not to have one thing. Maybe you need to experiment. And sometimes what you do for a period of time might shift to something else. So it's totally fine. But as long as you want to help others along the way, and this is my mission, for everything I want to do in life, I want to people and myself to radiate energy, cultivate positivity, and inspire resilience. Because anything we do in life, if we see as somebody who built a successful startup or keeps going, it just inspires us to take our own action and be better human beings. Kind of another question I have in mind for you guys is, and myself, the goal I hope I can accomplish more than anything else this year is ... The obstacle standing in the way within me and my plan to overcome that obstacle is to. So there are many questions to this, and I want to give you kind of short snippet of this, because I know that we can take this into different directions and different possibilities. It's a brilliant question, and you can sketch, your own thoughts. So I'm gonna try to sketch mine here for you. For me, first and foremost, it's not about perfection, but it's about progress. So big goal for me here is to conduct a retreat, not in a standard setting like you would think, yoga, but really a business type of retreat. So physical retreat. I've been, as I mentioned before, leading a couple of groups, and I want to get a little bit more into organizing more of this and really doubling down and seeing what works and what doesn't. And what I notice, I'm very good, with people, and I love people. And also, as I said, in my almost 2 decades of corporate career and networking and trying to build my influencer skills, it's my passion to be in front of others and, be in front of groups. The challenge is that, you need to find a good content for this particular, I need to find a good content for this particular retreat, which is appealing, find the right price point, create a workshop that really leaves people going home with some takeaway. And, I will also collaborate with my good friend, Deborah Gemmel, who's a wellness integrative health coach. And I'm really excited about this, and also my spouse Kate and my friend Dean, also with probably more than 30 years in corporate, and I'm really excited about this. On one side, obviously, the challenges are to fill up the workshop, create a great curriculum, also market this in a great way, and find a commitment, for people to participate. The positive thing is, and the plan really is to plan this, and we started kind of last year, which is really exciting. So 12 months ahead, which is really, I feel, solid enough time, and got us a lot of ground covered. Nevertheless, if you think about organizations and how they're planning and the moving pieces that come into this, like from planning, marketing, logistics, finance, you need to really give yourself some time. And the last piece in this question, and I also want to encourage you, whatever your challenges, whatever project you decide to do this year, choose fun. Choose have massive amounts of fun, because I have underrated this, or kind of underestimated, if you will, in the past. And I realized that I have, I can be very serious very quickly when it comes down to my goals. And I'm like, okay, this is the goal. This is how much I want to invest. This are the finances. This is this. And I can get very obsessive about it, but it takes the fun away. So a lot of the things that I decided to do when it comes down to content like this is also just enjoy the process. And even if it's not perfect, if the camera, light is not totally great, and if it doesn't look like a pro shot, I just put it out there because I know it can help somebody, and then I improve along the way. So that's what I also want to give you for this. In the end, we can get really discouraged when we look at a mountain we want to climb, and we figure out, hey, there is so much that needs to get done if you want to publish a book, or just run the marathon. Just take one step at a time. do it with grace and fun. Make sure you set manageable milestones and move towards them each and every day with great fluidity and grace. So the last two questions I have for you guys today is the really exciting one, is a few decisions I could make soon that would demonstrate high standards or moral goodness to people I love, care for, lead, serve. I would include ... So the thing is why I love this is because it takes you away from yourself. The first part obviously is about your moral code, about your values, about your principles, but the second part is about the moral goodness, right? So sharing more of who I am this year, this is what you can already feel. I want to really double down on that. In the past, I have not been, so vocal about my values. The last year, I really doubled down on that and the belief system. And I ventured out and I started posting diligently for the last 12 months on LinkedIn. And I had a great feedback from many people. It has been also very challenging to keep up this rhythm and keep coming with engaging posts and navigating and talking with others how to do it. But I feel there is magic in doing what resonates with others. And this is something what I realized is very important. So for the last years, I've silently followed my moral code, which is the kind of mastering body, mind, and life. If you're interested in it, I created a course and ebook with this. And this is very interesting. It's just 12 principles that I have been living consistently for the last 20 years or so. So it's really cool to have that, and this is very cool also for you to think about your values and where you want to go. So for me, practically this means continuing to do things which spark joy, which really brings me alive, and that for me is blogging. I love to write. I've been writing on Medium for the past 4.5 years, and it was a great ride and learning curve. You obviously earn some money, but it's not unless you really write well and long posts. And for me, that was really just about keep pushing the content out. It was a great, motivation for me and for others as well. And then the second part is podcasting. I think I have to double down on this even more because I have published now about 100 episodes on Shots of Inspiration, and I think also 100 episodes, almost close to 100, the Fit Fun podcast. So this is really exciting. These are really exciting projects for me because it takes time, it takes dedication, and really this focus you need to put into publishing this. And I know not everybody listens to podcasts, not everybody actually does this, but I feel this is my thing and I really enjoy that. And this third thing is really YouTube, creating videos, content that motivates others, putting myself in front of camera like here or in an audio setting, and to see what resonates and where it takes me. So I gotta double down on that. And this also comes to the, question, how do I demonstrate a high standards and moral goodness? It's really showing people who I am through these things. And it doesn't have to be so vocal, like I'm demonstrating here. It can be very, silent, like I have been doing that for years by helping, individuals or some strangers, to cross the road, or let them in front of you in a supermarket, pay somebody money for the education or because they cannot afford XYZ. So do whatever rocks your boat, and that's important. Follow your journey. The last part here is the biggest decision I made this past year that I need to stick to was, so there is this particular post I've seen actually from Madame Grant, but the credit comes, I think, to a lady that's called Liz and Molly. Maybe it's a couple, maybe it's just a company, but what I really like, you have this kind of three circles. You have a big circle, and in the middle it's what other people have. And then you have kind of arrow to it, which is like what social media makes you think you want. And then you have two circles on the left, and the one on the top is what you have, which is kind of yellow. Colors probably don't matter. And then overlapping circle to that, all these circles are overlapping, by the way, and a little bigger circle is what you actually want. And I like this, or I liked this particular post, and also for this particular setup, I just wanted to remind myself that the biggest decision I made the past year that I need to stick to is to really follow what I believe is the moral code, and to work for people I admire, to be great leader myself, and as a cherry on a pie is to choose to work with people I admire and love and inspire to become. And if you think on this section particular and the social media that's going on now, not everybody's involved in that, but most of us are, and we are sometimes trapped in this scrolling. And I just had it last weekend, watched too much of Netflix, and then you wake up the day after and you feel like somebody spitted you out, chew on you. And so we need to remind and keep reminding ourselves that it's not, again, as I said, about perfection, it's about progress. And we need to remember that it's not about the accolades, it's not about the tangible things like cars and big bank account. It's all good and right, but it doesn't make you better than somebody else. And sometimes we stalk those social media celebrities in a frenzy pace, trying to figure out how we could obtain more likes, more accolades, and more kind of acknowledgement. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I mean, in my way, as a building my own influencer kind of career, I need to be busy with these things and see how others doing it. But I figured in my a corporate career and mentoring others as well, that it's really about the uniqueness, and not everybody has to have 100 million followers on Instagram and not be successful. You can have 10,000 and still have a very successful career. And not everybody wants to be in front of cameras all the time. So we need to think more about the intangible stuff, a lot of the things like our character, our mindset, our mental stamina, our resilience, and less about the material stuff. The material stuff always comes, and the better lifestyle will come. There's always better choices you can make. And this is kind of where I want to lead you to, is really to think about your superpowers as well, which often lie dormant and are left behind. So think about the overlap where revisiting your desires, revisiting your superpowers, and summoning. This is the superpower I feel, at least for me, really this year, summoning the best of who I am each and every day. And that means it doesn't have to change anything. It just might change how I show up, how much energy I bring into things, and how much I get done. So I want to leave you with this. Think about 3 to 5 things that you need to do more regularly. Maybe fitness, maybe meditation, maybe going for a swim. Then more about your daily summoning of the best of who you are, and less about daily tasks. I'm reminding myself equally about this, because have become really great task achiever, but sometimes the task achieving is a little she or lion in a wolf in disguise, to not think about your desires and your stretch goals, because they require a little bit more effort, and you need to think more diligently about how to get that done. And the last thing, it's about desires, less about worrying and the outcome. I know that as I get older, I realized things actually shift, and when I don't accomplish something, it's not always the end of the world. Sometimes it's meant for me to have a different way and different outcome and different direction. And lastly, I really want you to think about the 3 areas. Self-regulation. How are your thoughts, actions, feelings make you feel? You can dial it up, dial it down. Sometimes, we feel really crappy. We woke up with a sour mood and we let it spoil throughout the whole day. I want you to be more mindful of this. The second thing is social influence. Many people do things because they just do it for the accolades. Again, I want you to really double down on social influence, and not because you want a bigger Instagram account or bigger LinkedIn account, but because you want to summon the Superman, as I call it in me, and the switching mindset. Reading books, do courses, maybe hire a coach, and be really the person you're proud to be. And the third thing is service. I want you to double down on this really more. Show up with the best of your abilities and serve others. Show them your values. Be yourself. Don't be afraid. And even if you're afraid, still go for it, and really just put yourself out there. So there you have it. I hope it helped you. It gave you a little bit of a snippet of how you could think about your year. I also wanted you to pinpoint for yourself where you can start, because maybe many of these questions might be too much. where you at, and you might need to start with one question, two or three. So anyways, I hope there you have it, more the full-fledged picture, and you can go deeper obviously as you are going through things. But I hope it gave you a little bit of flavor how to think about life and how to position yourself a little bit stronger in your environment where you are. Remember, have fun, radiate energy, cultivate positivity, because it's all about the positivity. It's all about how you think, how you put yourself out there, and make sure you lead by resilience, inspire others, because when you do that, it will always come back. So until the next time, stay awesome and